presidential candidate of the People Democratic Party (PDP) in 2019 general election, Atiku Abubakar, has received the blessing and endorsement of the former president Olusegun Obasanjo ahead of the crucial election. Atiku arrived at the Obasanjo Library Complex in Abeokuta alongside PDP chairman Uche Secondus, Afenifere leader Ayo Adebanjo, Atiku campaign organization director general and former governor of Ogun State Otumba Gbenga Daniel, Sheikh Gumi, and Senator Ben Bruce, among others. Bishop David Oyedepo of Winners Chapel and Archbishop of Sokoto Diocese Matthew Kuka were also part of the Atiku delegation to Obasanjo's home state, an indication that the church in Nigeria is favorably disposed to an Atiku presidency. Atiku and Obasanjo endure a strained, frosty relationship as vice president and president, respectively, from 1999 to 2007. Obasanjo frustrated Atiku presidential bid in 2007 and publicly vowed never to support Atiku in a series of presidential bids since they both left office. The Abeokuta meeting mended the broken relationship between Obasanjo and Atiku. PDP presidential candidate Atiku Abubakar has vowed to actualize the change both President Muhammadu Buhari and All Progressive Congress (APC) failed to deliver to Nigerians. Atiku made the remark while berating the party and Buhari for attacking him since emerging the PDP presidential candidate. The former vice president wondered why the same APC and President Muhammadu Buhari, who once praised him for being an exemplary Nigerian, could turn around and attack him. In a statement by his media office, the former vice president said he was surprised that since he emerged as the presidential candidate of PDP, the presidency, the Buhari campaign organization, and the APC have been insulting him. Nigerian Senate has approved 234.51 billion naira for the Independent National Electoral Commission. This is about 7.9 billion naira less than 242.45 billion naira requested by President Muhammadu Buhari. The upper chamber also approved the total sum of 189 billion naira, which will be the funding for the 2019 general election, to move from both recurrent and capital component of the Special Intervention Program captured in the two services-wide vote of the 2018 Appropriation Act. This, the Senate said, will be added to the sum of 45.5 billion naira provided for INEC in the statutory transfer, bringing the total budget of INEC in 2018 budget to 234 billion naira. Presenting the committee report on INEC, the chairman Senate Committee on Appropriation, Senator Danjuma Goje, explained that INEC was allocated 143 billion naira as recommended by the president for the 2019 general election. In the 2018 budget, the balance of 45 billion naira was requested for appropriation under 2019 budget.
The committee wishes to recommend one, that the sum of 143 billion 312,256,955 naira 13 kobo recommended by annual committee, and the additional sum of 45,695,015,438 naira, totaling 189,007,272,303 naira be approved as part of the development of 2018 budget. 2. Source of fund, that the sum of 189,7,272,393 naira requested for the funding of the 2019 general elections should be varied from both recurrent and capital components of the Special Intervention Program captured in the service-wide vote of the 2018 Appropriation Act as shown below and be added to the sum of 45.5 billion provided for ANEC in the statutory transfers. This will bring the total budget for ANEC in the 2018 Appropriation Act to 234,507,272,393 naira.
According to the Senate, the approval became imperative to enable Nigerians prepare adequately for the election.
One, the committee wishes to recommend that the sum of 143,312,256,955 naira recommended by the INEC committee, and the additional sum of 45,695,015,438, totaling 189,7,272,393 be approved as part of the development of the 2018 budget. Those in favor of recommendation 1 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Recommendation 2, that the sum of 189,7,272,393 naira requested for the funding of the 2019 general election should be varied from both recurrent and capital components of the Special Intervention Program captured in service-wide votes of the 2018 Appropriation Act as shown below, and be added to the sum of 45.5 billion provided for INEC in the statutory transfers. This will bring the total budget of INEC in the 2018 budget to 234,507,272,393. Those in favor of recommendation 2 say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. So, distinguished colleagues, let me join others too in thanking the chairman of our appropriation, and also in thanking the chairman and members, particularly all the members of the INEC committee who, during the period we were on holidays, had a series of meetings to ensure that this report was ready. I want to thank them for this. Then also, I would like the chairman of appropriation to please liaise with his counterpart in the House, so that we all can be on the same page.
It will be recalled that Senate had on Wednesday approved 189 billion naira for INEC, leaving the question in mind, which the security agency's budget was reduced to arrive at the budget of 234 billion naira.
The Independent National Electoral Commission says that more than 80 million registered voters are expected to vote during the 2019 general election. INEC Chairman Professor Mohammed Yakubu disclosed this in a paper he presented at the 14th All Nigeria Editors Conference held at Asaba, Delta State. Yakubu, represented by Mike Igene, resident electoral commissioner Akwa Ibom, says that the figure was made up of 67 million existing registered voters and 14 million newly registered voters. He said 91 political parties has been registered ahead of the 2019 general election, adding that there was a total of 120 polling units across the country. Meanwhile, the Senate also approved a sum of 189,207,544,893 naira. It is said that the approved sum of money should be varied from both recurrent and capital components of Special Intervention Program captured in the service-wide vote of the 2018 Appropriation Act. Following the approval of the aggregate INEC budget for the 2018 appropriation will be 234,507,272,393 naira.
The Senate has called on the Ministry of Water Resources to rehabilitate Nigerian dam and dredge waterway to be able to take in flood waters. The upper chamber advised the National Emergency Management Agency, NEMA, to send relief materials to the affected victims in Kano and other states of the Federation. The call was sequel to a motion on the recent flooding across the country, sponsored by Kabiru Gaya, Kano, and 107 other senators. The lawmaker at Thursday plenary also resolved to set up an ad hoc committee comprising chairpersons and vice chairpersons of the Senate committees on ecology, water resources to come up with a lasting solution to the issue of flooding. Leading the debate, Senator Gaya noted that the recent flood across the country have claimed hundreds of lives and damaged thousands of homes.
The Senate observed that in the last 3 decades, the impact of flooding have increasingly assumed significant threatening proportions, resulting in loss of lives and property. Though detailed statistics are not available regarding the losses sustained by urban dwellers and villagers and the flood victims across the country. It is obvious from the available records that irreparable loss have been sustained by the citizens of Nigeria due to what has become perennial natural disaster in our country.
The lawmaker took turn to contribute to the motion.
There's no way we can stop rain from falling. It's a natural thing, but we can prepare to contain the damage heavy downpour can cause on our environment. And the major solution to this, Mr. President, is that we'll start dredging our waterways in the dry season. We don't need to wait during rainfall. When the rivers begin to overflow their banks, we'll start running around and start carrying blankets and mattresses to give to people. If we spend time and plan and dredge our waterways during the dry season, by the time we get to rainy season, the rivers will have enough space to carry water that will come into them. If we don't do that, it will become constant.
It may look unrelated, but the truth of the matter is that as we are traveling across this country, if you see areas where there is heavy deforestation, you'll be surprised to see roads that you are passing before that are clean are now being flooded with sand, because the level of deforestation means that the forest cover can no longer prevent erosion taking place across the area. And I think it is the movement of this sand that enables the siltation we see in most of our streams. And so if we have to address this, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, we need to really set up a very high-powered and enabled technical committee that will bring in experts to tell us what the true situation is.
Important motion. I come from a state that is basically on land, and we don't have very major rivers. But right now, most of the homes are submerged in water. I travel every time between Lokoja and Ekiti. When you go now, just after the tributary of River Niger, you will find just roofs on top of water. In fact, there is an edifice put there by the governor of Kogi State. It is water for everyone, and it's already floating on water. And that is how bad the flood is. Right now, Mr. President, he brings reptiles, all sorts of things, into homes. Scorpions, snakes, crocodiles are washed into homes, and they become very, very dangerous. But it must be that there is something we're doing that is still very wrong, and we've not been able to put our finger on the right button.
In his ruling, the Deputy Senate President, Ike Kremadu, urged the federal government, in collaboration with the Cameroonian government, to convene a stakeholder meeting to address the recurring situation with view to providing a lasting solution to the flood disaster.
The regrettable thing is that for many years now, we've always been talking about this and having these debates here in this Senate. And each time we also have the same disaster. And unfortunately, it's going to happen again if we don't do something. So I just want to appeal to the movers of this motion not only to ensure that the resolutions will be implemented, but also make sure that they contact the necessary agencies that will implement the decisions here to ensure that those decisions are actually implemented. I would like to also to appeal to the government to make necessary arrangements, to provide temporary shelters across the country, so that when this thing happens, at least people will have a places to lay their heads, which did not happen this time. Our people suffered a lot in various states because there were no temporary shelters. And then even in some places, they had to displace school children to put some of the people displaced in the primary schools and secondary schools. And this, of course, affected schooling in many parts of the country. So we must be prepared at all times in order to address some of these emergencies.
Over the past few months, floods have ravaged many communities. Some of the affected areas include Kogi, Niger, Anambra, Delta, Taraba. Others are Kebbi, Edo, Rivers, Benue, Bayelsa, and Kwara states. From National Assembly Complex, Abuja, Muyiwa Bamdele reporting. The immediate past Minister of Women Affairs and Social Development, Senator Aisha Alhassan, who is now the governorship flag bearer of United Democratic Party (UDP) in Taraba State, says security of life and properties and peaceful coexistence of the people will be a priority if she emerges as governor of Taraba State come 2019. Senator Aisha, who recently resigned her appointment as minister in the current administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. She equally dumped the ruling All Progressive Congress to join United Democratic Party. She explained that security is a serious challenge in the Taraba State.
Peaceful coexistence, because that is what we lack now in Taraba. When people don't live peacefully among themselves, they can never make progress. So peaceful coexistence among our people. And you see, when you see people quarreling and fighting and not living peacefully together, it is because the leadership is unjust. When the leadership is not doing justice to everybody, you now see that people become disgruntled, people are not happy. One part that is receiving the injustice will not be happy. The part that is being treated well will be happy. And then the slightest opportunity that they get, there will now be friction and fights. So my main thing when I go is security for everybody, and then peaceful coexistence among our people.
The UDP governorship candidate expressed optimism of emerging victorious in the forthcoming governorship election in Taraba State.
In APC, because my supporters, my followership is still the same and even more now, because people that sympathize with me on the injustice that was done to me are now my supporters. People that were never my supporters, because of the injustice that was done to me, have become my supporters now. So my follow is more now in UDP than it was in APC. So I thank God for that. So what APC did to me has turned out to be a blessing for me.
Meanwhile, the national chairman of the United Democratic Party, Godson Okoye, said the party will intensify its effort to build the electoral fortune of the candidate in the 2019 general election. From Abuja, Muyiwa Bamdele reporting.
Members of Buhari Osibanjo mandate group has called on Nigerians to disregard the allegations from the opposition party against President Muhammadu Buhari-led administration and vote a man whom God has sent to reposition the country from impunity. The group at a press conference in Abuja accused the opposition party of inciting Nigerians against the president despite his achievements in the last 3 years.
We are telling the world that we are a platform here to seek the support of Nigerians and canvass for the election of Mr. President. That is one. Two, we are equally going to collaborate with gubernatorial candidates, senators, and members of House of Representatives, so that we are going to get enough or a good number of them, if possible, in all the 36 states we would like to have APC. If possible, we would like to have all the senators APC. If possible, we would like to have all the members of our APC.
It is their messages many of us are listening to. We are listening to what they are saying. It is what they want us to do to favor them. And the messages they are passing into our orientation again. So, they are saying Buhari must go. Again, like they said in 1983, so 1984. Who brought Buhari in 1985? I mean, in 2015. The same people that want him to go today. Why? Because he is running a responsible and socio-economically steadily growing Nigeria. All of us who are sitting on this platform this afternoon are saying no to the enemies of Nigeria. Nigerians are wise now. They will not join forces with them to send this good man away the second time.
Just of recent, the All Progressive Congress endorsed President Muhammadu Buhari to run for second term in 2019 general election, which the group said is as a result of his achievements over the past 3.5 years in government.
Beyond that, in the 6 of the geopolitical zones, there are equally projects that anybody can see, which we could not see within those last 15 years with those colossal amount of resources that was generated. Now, it is in the light of this that we feel that this administration should continue its good work to 2023. And it is on this basis that we, the Buhari-Osibanjo Group, as a platform to canvass, sensitize Nigerians to support and elect Mr. President come February 2019.
Is he not paying the local and foreign contractors that are working with the government? Is he not deploying the resources of this country to all the areas where he's supposed to deploy them? The problem that we are battling with today as Nigerians is the problem of that awkward orientation that has been forced on all of us by those who ran Nigeria irresponsibly yesterday. The way they ran Nigeria yesterday has become part of our orientation.
They noted that those fighting the re-election of Mr. President can be described as the enemies of Nigeria and do not support a responsible leader.
Those who are fighting President Muhammadu Buhari right now are creating one impression to the rest of the world. And the impression they are creating is that it is a crime to be a responsible leader in Nigeria. That is the pressure. They are simply telling the world that if you want to live right in Nigeria, you want to be forthright, you want to be a responsible leader, a disciplined leader, a visionary leader, then it is a crime. They won't let you have your way there. That is the impression they are creating.
In Abuja, LM Chukwemeka reports.